the thing that kind of really blows my mind with it as a whole package is the DLSS 4.
Yes.
That was announced at the same time, which is specifically for the 50 series cards, although some parts of it will work on the other generations.
Yeah, DLSS 4 will be available across. It's just the multi-frame gen.
Multi-frame gen.
That will be 50 series locked.
Which Digital Foundry did a really good video on, you were saying.
Yes.
They did a really good deep dive.
Yes.
Which they do on everything. I know we seem to like pitch them quite a lot.
Yeah, we like them a lot.
I watch their videos all the time.
I do, yeah.
I'm like really geeky with it. Anyway, yeah. They did a really, if you want a deep dive on a multi-frame gen DLSS 4, check their video out.
Yes.
But they were saying like a 900% increase in frames generated.
Yeah. They were like, we can't, show FPS, but we'll show you how much percentage. And it was just insane.
So, to get your head around that means a 9 times increase what they were getting as a frame performance.
As a base rate, which is nuts. And there's different stages of this multi-frame gen.
That's insane.
So with the 40 series, you've got frame gen, which is just 2 times frame gen, right? With the 50 series, this multi is because there's actually different levels that you can like choose.
Yeah.
So you've got 2 times, which is from the 40 series essentially. Which is also being upgraded, by the way, with this new FSR. That's MD with DLSS 4. Anyway, so you got 2 times, you got 3 times, and then you got 4 times as well as native. So that's what they were showing, the percentage increase, and it, like going from 2 times was like 250% or something like that, with the upgraded one, and then 3 times was something like 700% increase or 600% or something like that, and then this 4 times was 900%. I was like, what?
Now there's going to be a real divide at this point.
Yeah.
Between like with gamers, there's going to be those gamers that like really embrace this and go, wow, we can get now huge performance in a super efficient way, and it's going to make games on slightly underperforming hardware in the future be able to do amazing things. And then there's going to be the other camp now, and I've seen this discourse already happening. There's going to be the other camp that go, all it allows for is poorly optimized games to run in an artificial way, and it doesn't even feel like I'm getting that frame. So some of the criticism now of frame gen is that, yes, it says it's 120 FPS, but it still feels like 45.
So, this is a tough one because I turn off frame gen when I'm playing on my eGPU.
For that reason?
Not necessarily for how it... I suppose that is kind of the reason, yeah. Like, there's 2 reasons. Visual artifacts upset me.
Yeah.
On a handheld screen, it's not too bad. Like if I'm using AMD frame gen, it's forgivable.
Yeah.
Like on a 7-inch or whatever. But on like a 77-inch OLED, like, I'm looking at artifacts here and they're inescapable, currently. So I turn off that, but also because you've got to have a stable base rate of frames, right? So you can't turn a 10 FPS game into, or let's take a 15 FPS game into a 30 FPS game with frame gen. You can't just double it and then it'll be okay. It will still just feel like 15 FPS.
Yeah.
And this was the issue I was having with, I think it was like Miles Morales or something like that. I was using frame gen and I was trying to max out the game or whatever game it was I was choosing. And the base frame rate was like 30 FPS. And I was like, I'll get it to 60 with frame gen. It's like, man, this feels horrible. And if I turned the camera, even though it was showing 60 FPS, it was still like, And it was like, because the base frame rate is rubbish, I was like, let's just try something. Dropped all the settings down a bit. Got the base game like natively rendered or whatever at like 45 FPS. Put frame gen on it, hit it up to 90. I'm like, now it's like perfect, in terms of feel. But visual artifacts annoyed me enough to turn it off, and I was like, I'd rather just turn some settings down and have a solid
the visual artifacting is a real issue. We've seen it with the others that are trying to implement like this frame gen and this AI upscaling. Visual artifacting is actually the real issue that they're coming up against.
It's the biggest problem. I mean, look at Pisser.
Pisser's awful.
The flickering is horrible.
I worry about Nintendo's version that they've recently patented, which is obviously going to be on the Switch too.
Yeah.
And it's going to be heavily relied upon as well. I worry that that's going to have similar...
I think because they've got Daddy NVIDIA holding their hand.
Could just be that they're just using DLSS.
Of course it is, yeah. But even if it's their own, NVIDIA would have made it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? we wouldn't trust Nintendo to make. They can't even get Pokemon like to work. Do you know what I mean? I know that's Pokemon Company, but come on.
Yeah, it's absolutely true.
But yeah, so, but this is the thing. Going back to Digital Foundry, in this video, they specifically looked at the artifacting, like ghosting and flickering. Oh my god, night and day difference between DLSS 3 and 4.
Yeah,
like
that's the thing that excites me more than the headline performance will grab the headlines.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you get 900% increase in your frames that generate. Wicked doesn't mean anything if the artifacting is still a problem and if it doesn't feel authentic.
Yes. Yeah.
So I'd rather have it running at like at least a 60 to a 90 kind of window.
Yeah.
But it feel beautiful, and like those like aliasing, artifacting, the problems with the lighting and stuff is gone.
Yes. Yeah. That's
what this generation of DLSS 4 is designed to tackle.
And that's exactly what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be using DLSS 4. I'm going to turn frame gen off.
Yeah.
I'd rather just play at a locked frame rate at 60 or whatever, because my TV's 120 hertz. Let's say I put 4 times frame gen on, right, and I'm playing at 400
You're
frames.
Not gonna see it. It's pointless.
I'm going to get screen tearing to high heaven there.
Yeah.
It's going to be terrible because it's just so high. And this is the thing. I don't think DLSS 4 frame gen is going to fix the problem of having a stable frame rate. I don't think you'll be able to choose 10 FPS and play at 40 plus.
It will feel like 10 FPS
It will still feel like 10 FPS and it will still look choppy, even though it's like rendering loads. But I might be wrong. Maybe they've fixed that. Maybe this is literally like groundbreaking, mind-blowing craziness.
If you enjoyed this clip, then maybe watch the full episode over on the main channel. It's going to be smashed between our faces. It's another reason to watch us for another hour.
Oh, yes. You're in for something special.